All right, we're back, and let's talk about empathy. Empathy is different from sympathy. Sympathy is when you feel bad for someone. Empathy is a combination of that, but then also caring and feeling like you could put yourself in their position, feeling like I could imagine what it feels like. Not just, oh, that poor thing, but maybe a little bit of, oh, you poor thing, I know how that feels, or I wouldn't want to be feeling the way that you're feeling, and I would like to help relieve you from feeling that. Um, so, if you're experiencing empathy, one of the things that'll happen is it'll cause you to focus on the needs and the emotions of the victim rather than on your own, concerns about yourself and your normal sort of mundane thoughts. Instead, you'll be thinking, what does this person need? How can I help this person? How can I bolster their emotions? Things like that. We tend to feel the most empathy for people who are like us, who are similar to us. So that could be things having to do with, sex or age or race or, same, you attend the same school or, anything that makes you feel like we share some kind of connection, right? So whatever it is, and it could be whatever's most salient at the moment. Sometimes it could be the only thing you guys share in common is enough to make you feel empathetic, right? Like there may be just one thing you share in common and you're like, well, gosh darn it, a person who shares that characteristic with me deserves my help, right? Or deserves me to feel like I can relate to them more. We tend to feel more empathy for people who didn't cause their own distress. So, there's still that, component where when a person, we attribute it to their own behaviors leading to this distress, we may feel less empathy for them because we can't imagine ourselves having put ourselves in that situation. Now, mirror neurons may be responsible for us feeling empathy. Mirror neurons were accidentally discovered when they were actually just had electrodes in a rhesus monkey's brain, and they were trying to track which neurons in the motor strip were responsible for moving the hand to reach out and grab a peanut. So they're doing a bunch of different trials. The monkey was, strapped in his little chair and able to reach for the peanut. Well, a lab assistant came through and moved the peanut, and it caused the monkey's neuron to fire as if the monkey had touched the peanut himself. And they were like, wait, why is his brain showing all this activity when he's just watching somebody else touch the peanut? So that commenced a bunch of research on these mirror neurons. And basically the current position is that these mirror neurons activate when we feel empathy, or we could put ourselves in the position of another actor. And so when we see somebody else getting hurt, a similar area of our brain as the person actually experiencing the pain will light up in us as we're watching them. And it causes us to have sort of a feeling of pain, even though we're not having the actual sensation of pain. So mirror neurons seem to be underlying a lot of the empathy that we can experience. Empathy is great, but sometimes it can lead to personal distress, right? Where we are taking on so much of their experience that we're actually experiencing distress, right? We are feeling bad. It's harmful to us. Now, kind of surprisingly, kind of the opposite of what you might be thinking, we tend to have greater personal distress witnessing someone else's plight when we're preoccupied with our own feelings. When instead of looking at the other person and thinking, how are they feeling? How are they coping? Is there anything I can do to help? Instead, we think to ourselves, boy, this is really upsetting me. Wow, I'm really actually feeling really anxious about that. Like the more we're thinking about our own feelings, the more our distress goes up. The more we don't want to be feeling distress, the more distressing it can be. So the more we try and deny it, the more we try and think, how can I make myself stop feeling this anxious? How can I make myself stop feeling this scared? Stuff like that. The more we try to squelch it, the more it actually affects us. Now, when we're experiencing this kind of personal distress, it can cause us to be helpful, not because of, altruistic motives, which I said I wasn't going to use that word anymore, but that idea that it's going to benefit the other person, not benefit us at all. It's the reverse. When you're experiencing personal distress, it may cause us to help because we're trying to reduce our own distress. It's what's called egoistic helping. So egoistic helping occurs when we can't escape the situation. Either, the commercial keeps coming up for us to donate to the animal shelter or to the Save the Children or whatever, and we can't avoid seeing it, so that we can't ignore the suffering. Like it keeps being in our face, and then we're like, I need to stop feeling this much distress. I can't escape the situation. I can't stop feeling the way I'm feeling. I'm going to have to help in order to get this negative emotion to go away. So the likelihood of helping, there are certain personality characteristics that affect our likelihood of helping. There's a type of helper that we call Good Samaritans. Good Samaritans are people who will help strangers. They'll help in dangerous situations, stuff like that. Typically, Good Samaritans are people who are physically capable to help in dangerous situations or risky situations. And they tend to have relevant training. So they feel competent. They feel like they are the person who would be the right person to help in this situation. Caregivers, on the other hand, are ones who have a lot of empathy for the person who needs the care and a lot of feeling of duty, that, it's their responsibility, that, if not them, then who kind of situation. And so you have people who are caregivers who tend to do a lot longer help. A lot of times they'll be helping for weeks or months or years. Good Samaritans oftentimes are doing lots of different help across days or months of a year. They're helping lots of different people across that same time period. Good Samaritans are much more likely to be male, and caregivers are much more likely to be females. It's not either or. I mean, there are Good Samaritan females and there are caregiver males, obviously. But it's much more likely that a Good Samaritan is male and much more likely that a caregiver is female. There are situational factors that can impact the likelihood of helping. This video, as you can see, is age restricted. So if you're under 18, you're going to have to click that you're 18 to watch it. It's a news clip. It was shown on the clip that I was able to grab, came off of Fox News. So it's been aired on TV. So I'm not showing you anything horrific. It's from a newscast. It's just a little startling. So to brace you for it, it's a video that shows a pedestrian from a distance getting hit by a car, and then how the bystanders reacted. So we'll come back and we'll talk about this in the next video.